Last video you learned an AI voice only sounds real when the script it performs is written for the ear. But a flawless voice read into an empty room changes nothing, so today you learn how to make viewers stay. In the last video, you learned that most AI voices do not sound fake because of the voice at all. They sound fake because of the words. You saw that a script is like sheet music. The voice can only sing as well as what you wrote down for it to sing. So you started writing for the ear instead of the eye. Short lines, natural pauses, sentences that breathe the way a real person breathes when they talk to a friend. Now you have a voice that sounds human and a script it can truly perform. But there is a quiet problem hiding inside that success. A beautiful voice reading a beautiful script into an empty room still changes nothing. Someone has to stay and listen. And on YouTube, staying is everything. So this video is about the one skill that turns a good video into a growing channel. It is called retention. And once you understand it, you will never watch your own videos the same way again. Start with a simple picture. Imagine you open a book at bedtime. You tell yourself you will read one page, then you read the next. Then you look up and it is midnight and you have finished 5 chapters. Nobody forced you. The book simply refused to let you go. Every page ended with a small pull toward the next one. That pull is the whole secret. That is retention. It is the invisible thread that keeps a person moving from this moment to the next moment instead of leaving. Retention is just a fancy word for a very simple question. When someone starts your video, how long do they stay? That is all it means. If 100 people press play and most of them are still there 2 minutes later, your retention is high. If 90 of them vanish in the first 10 seconds, your retention is low. The number is a mirror. It shows you second by second exactly when people got bored and walked away. Here's why this matters more than almost anything else you do. YouTube is not a person who watches your video and decides if it is good. YouTube is a machine that watches the audience. It does not really understand your words. It understands behavior. It watches what people do. Do they stay? Do they smile and click like? Do they finish and then watch another one of yours? Or do they leave fast and never come back? The machine reads those signals the way a teacher reads a classroom. If the whole class leans in, the lesson is working. If half the class walks out, something is wrong. So the algorithm, that mysterious thing every creator worries about, is mostly just a retention detector. It measures how long people watch and how satisfied they seem. Then it makes a bet. If your video keeps people watching, the machine thinks, other people will probably enjoy it too. So it shows your video to more strangers. Those strangers watch. If they also stay, the machine grows bolder and shows it to even more people. That is how a small video quietly becomes a big one. Not through luck. Through a chain of people who kept watching. Think of it like a shopkeeper standing at the door of a busy street. The shopkeeper cannot see inside the minds of the crowd, but the shopkeeper can see which shop people walk into and how long they stay. If everyone rushes into one shop and lingers for an hour, the shopkeeper starts pointing new visitors toward that shop. YouTube is that shopkeeper. Retention is how long people linger. The recommendation is the pointing finger. You do not control the finger. You control the lingering. Now here is the part that changes how you should think about money. Many new creators chase advertising income first. They stare at the pennies. They ask how to get more ads and higher rates, but that is looking through the wrong end of the telescope. The advertising money is not the thing you build. It is the shadow that a good thing casts. When people watch longer, YouTube shows more videos, and more videos mean more room for ads, and more ads mean more income. So the money grows because the watching grew. Chase retention, and the income follows behind it like a shadow follows a walker. Chase the income directly, and you end up staring at your shadow while standing still. So retention is the engine, and everything else, the views, the subscribers, the ad money, is the smoke that engine produces. Fix the engine, and the smoke takes care of itself. Good, now you understand why retention matters, so learn how to actually build it piece by piece using the craft that great storytellers have used for centuries. The first piece is the hook. The hook is the very beginning of your video, the first few seconds, and it is the most important few seconds you will ever make. Most people leave in the first 15 seconds or they stay for the whole thing, and that decision happens almost instantly. So the beginning cannot be a slow warm-up. It cannot be a long hello and a list of what is coming. Think about how you decide whether to keep watching something. You decide in a blink. Your video gets the same blink. A strong hook does one simple job. It opens a question in the viewer's mind that they now need answered. It makes a promise or shows a surprise or points at a mystery. It is the first tug on the thread. Imagine a friend runs up to you and says, "You will not believe what just happened at the market. You cannot walk away now. A tiny door has opened in your head and you have to see what is behind it." That is what your first line should do. Do not explain everything. Open a door. The second piece is the open loop. This is the deepest trick in all of storytelling, and once you see it, you will notice it everywhere. An open loop is a question you raise but do not answer right away. You plant it early, and you promise without saying so that the answer is coming later. That unanswered question is a hook that keeps working long after the first one. It is why a good story makes you lean in and think, wait, what happens next? Your brain hates an unfinished thing. It wants to close the loop, so it stays. Think of the bedtime book again. A good chapter almost never ends at a calm, finished moment. It ends right as the door creaks open, right as the character hears a strange sound, right before the secret is revealed. The chapter closes, but the loop stays open. And your hand, against your own better judgment, turns the page. You can do exactly this in a video. Tell the viewer that in a moment you will show them the one mistake that ruins most channels, and then talk about something else first. The loop is now open. They will wait through the something else, because their mind is holding a ticket that has not been used yet. The third piece is pacing. Pacing is the speed and rhythm of your video, and it is where most faceless creators quietly lose their audience. When a video moves too slowly, when a single idea is stretched thin, the viewer feels time dragging, and dragging time feels like an invitation to leave. Pacing is like walking with a child. Walk too slowly, and they let go of your hand and wander off. Walk at a lively, steady pace, and they keep up, curious about where you are going. Every sentence should earn its place. If a line does not add a new picture, a new feeling, or a new step forward, cut it. Tighten, trim the fat. A tight video feels fast even when it is long, and a loose video feels slow even when it is short. The fourth piece is the pattern interrupt. A pattern interrupt is a small surprise that breaks the sameness, a jolt that wakes the viewer up right before they drift. Here is why you need it. When anything stays the same for too long, the human brain stops paying attention. It is built to notice change, not sameness. If a clock ticks in a room, you hear it for a minute and then it disappears from your mind. Your video has the same danger. If your voice keeps the same rhythm, the same tone, the same kind of sentence for too long, the viewer's attention quietly fogs over and then they leave without even knowing why. So you interrupt the pattern on purpose. You change something. A sudden short sentence after a long one. A question thrown straight at the viewer. A shift in energy, a change in the picture on screen, a new sound, a surprising fact. Think of a teacher who suddenly stops talking, walks to the window and says, "Come look at this." The whole class snaps back to attention. That is a pattern interrupt. It resets the clock on boredom. Sprinkle these all through your video, and attention keeps getting refreshed, again and again, like splashing cool water on a face that was starting to nod off. The fifth piece is the payoff. This is the part too many creators forget, and forgetting it is a kind of betrayal. Every loop you open must eventually be closed. Every promise you make in the hook must eventually be kept. The payoff is the moment you deliver the answer, the reveal, the satisfying click of a question finally resolved. If you open a loop and never close it, the viewer feels cheated, and a cheated viewer does not come back. But if you pay off what you promised, the viewer feels a small burst of trust, and trust is what makes them press play on your very next video before they have even thought about it. Now notice how these pieces fit together into one machine. The hook opens the first loop, pacing keeps the walk brisk, pattern interrupts refresh attention along the way, new loops open before old ones close, so the viewer is always holding at least one unanswered question. And payoffs land at just the right moments, rewarding the wait and building trust. This is not a trick to fool people. It is the same craft a great novelist uses, the same craft a great teacher uses, the same craft your favorite storyteller used to keep you leaning in. You are simply learning to do it on purpose. Here's the wonderful part for you. None of this needs a face. Look closely at everything described here. The hook is words. The open loop is a question. Pacing is rhythm. A pattern interrupt is a change in sound or energy. A payoff is a promise kept. Every single one of these tools lives in the voice and the story, not in a camera pointed at someone's face. A faceless channel is not missing anything it needs to win our attention. The most gripping bedtime story you ever heard was told in the dark with your eyes closed, and you did not see the storyteller once. The grip was in the telling. This is why faceless videos can hold an audience just as tightly as any face on camera, sometimes more tightly. Without a face to look at, the viewer's whole mind pours into the words and the pictures and the sound. Nothing distracts them from the story itself. Your clear, warm, well-paced voice becomes the hand that leads them from moment to moment. And the algorithm, the shopkeeper watching the street, cannot tell whether the person holding attention has a face on screen or not. It only sees the lingering, it only counts the minutes. A minute of held attention from a faceless channel weighs exactly the same as a minute from a face on camera. Now here comes the counterintuitive twist, and it is the opposite of what most beginners believe. Beginners think retention is about being exciting. They think they must be loud, fast, dramatic, constantly shouting to hold people. But that is not it at all. Retention is not about excitement. It is about the absence of reasons to leave. Watch how your own attention works. You do not leave a video because it stopped being thrilling. You leave the exact second you feel bored, confused, or cheated. Those are the three doors people walk out through. Boredom, confusion, and broken promises. That is all. So the real craft is not adding more excitement. It is removing every reason to leave. Cut the boring parts so boredom never opens its door. Make every idea instantly clear so confusion never opens its door. Keep every promise you make, so a broken promise never opens its door. Do that, and the viewer simply has nowhere to exit. They keep watching, not because you dazzled them every second, but because you never once gave them a reason to stop. A calm, clear, honest video with no leak points will outhold a loud, messy, exciting one every time. Retention is less like fireworks and more like a boat with no holes in it. The fireworks impress for a moment. The boat that does not leak is the one that carries everyone all the way across. And here's the modern mirror, the way this shows up in your own life every single day. You already live inside this craft, whether you notice it or not. Think about the last time you told yourself, just one more episode, and then watch 3. Think about the last time a short video pulled you in and 40 minutes disappeared. You were not weak, you were held. Someone built those loops, set that pace, timed those payoffs, and they carried you along a thread you could not see. Every gripping thing you have ever failed to look away from was quietly using the exact tools in this video. You have felt this craft from the inside 1,000 times. Now you are learning to hold the tools yourself and point them the other way, from viewer to creator. So look back at the video you are about to make. Watch it as a stranger would. Ask, where is the first tug? Where does a loop open? Where does the pace sag? Where does the pace sag? Where does the tension have room to drift? Where is the promise kept? Every place a viewer might leave is a hole in your boat, and every hole you patch is another minute the shopkeeper counts, another push toward more strangers, another turn of the wheel that grows your channel while you sleep. This is the craft that feeds the machine, and you now know how it works. A flawless voice means nothing if nobody stays, so retention, not luck, is what quietly feeds the algorithm. Subscribe so you never miss the craft that turns a good video into a channel that grows while you sleep. Next, watch I build a faceless video start to finish, every click, and see all of this become one real video.